Welcome back to Face the Nation. Well, here's something you don't see very often in Washington. These people have been lining up all weekend in hope of getting a seat in the Supreme Court arguments scheduled for Tuesday. This is a case that could ultimately settle whether the right to marry someone of the same sex is constitutionally protected. We're going to hear from both sides. Evan Wolfson is the head of Freedom to Marry, a group that's lobbied for gays to marry. He's in New York this morning, but I'm going to start with probably the most vocal opponent of same-sex marriage, and that is Tony Perkins. He is the president of the Family Research Council. And Ms. Perkins, I'm going to say this to you up front. You and your group have been so strong in coming out against this and against gay marriage that the Southern Poverty Law Center has branded the Family Research Council an anti-gay hate group. We have been inundated by people who say we should not even let you appear because they, in their view, quote, you don't speak for Christians. Do you think you have taken this too far?
No, Bob, we stand, well, first of all, let me say thank you for allowing us to continue to have this discussion, because I think it's a discussion that's going to continue on, regardless of what the court says. The court is not going to settle this issue. In fact, I think it does a disservice to both sides if the court weighs in on public policy like this. The courts are decided to interpret the Constitution and the constitutionality of laws, not create public policy. When they do that, they create division and they erect barriers to reaching consensus on public policy like this. And so no, we stand with millennia of experience that the union of a man and woman, the sacred union of marriage, is the cornerstone of society. That's where kids learn to become citizens.
Well, you said the other day, and I believe these are your words, if the court rules in favor of gay marriage, it would be open season on people of faith.
Absolutely.
I mean, how can you say that?
Oh, I can say it very clearly. When this is what's at stake here, Bob. This is not about the marriage altar. This is about fundamentally altering the culture. Just on Friday, a bakery in Oregon was fined $135,000 for not refusing to serve gay people, but simply saying, we cannot participate in a same-sex wedding because it violates our Christian faith. $135,000. Within hours, though, about $100,000 was raised for this couple until gay activists demanded that GoFundMe take down their site.
But, you know, Mr. Perkins, in the 2 years since the court took up this issue, we now have surveys that show that 6 in 10 Americans now favor gay marriage. That says to me this may be working. 37 states in the district have now legalized same-sex marriage. It is illegal in just 7 states. Doesn't that mean that people want this to be legal?
No, first off, even the Washington Post said the numbers are based on how you ask the question. The nation really is evenly divided. And the narrative, 37 states, that works for those who want to say the consensus is on the side of redefinition. But you have to realize only voters in 3 of those states actually voted to allow the redefinition of marriage. In the vast majority of the others, it's been imposed on them by the courts. And for those that would say there's a global consensus, that's not true either. Only 17 of the 193 member states of the United Nations have redefined marriage, and only 1, Brazil, is the only nation that's allowed it to be done by the courts. The court will only supercharge this issue, as they did Roe v. Wade back in 1973.
Did you really say that justices who come down on the side of gays on this should be impeached?
No, I didn't say that.
Because there are reports to that effect.
No, I didn't say that.
What did you say?
Well, I said that I didn't say anything about impeachment of the judges. What I said that they're not the final say on this issue. In our system of government, the courts are not the final say on issues. And for the court to decide on something like this and impose it on the nation, which the polling, even CBS's own polling, says a majority of Americans are opposed to the idea that the Supreme Court would impose this on the nations. They think it's best left to the states. That's how we come to a consensus in this country. And as abortion remains an issue 42 years later, in every election from president on down, it'll continue to be an issue, just as the major Republican candidates last night in Iowa made it an issue.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Perkins, for being with us.